If you didn't know, the mayor elections are ending in just a few hours, and Aatrox is leading with well over half the votes. This means we will unlock perks such as half-priced quests, and more rare drops. So today, I will be doing a beginner's guide to Slayers, starting from your very first Tier 1 zombie quest, all the way to slaying the final Sven Packmaster. This will cover gear I recommend and some general tips to slaying these bosses with ease. According to YouTube statistics, 59.2% of you are the imposter, and the only way to not get caught is by clicking that subscribe button. And for every like, you are 1% less suspicious. Also, click the link in the description and become a channel member to flex on all of the nons with cool badges, emojis, and more. Now, let's talk about Slayers. Let's first go over two things you'll want to grab before starting Slayer quests. Of course, these are optional and you don't need these, but personally I think they will help you significantly. The first one being the God Potion. The God Potion, when you drink it, allows you to gain every single positive effect in the game, including Pet Luck and Magic Find. This means you'll have more chances to get pets and rare drops when participating in Slayer quests. I would highly recommend this since you'll deal more damage, do quests faster, and get better drops. Similarly, if you use Superior Dragon Armor, you'll have 5% higher Magic Find depending on what your Magic Find is. So if you have 100%, you'll have 105. If you have 200%, you'll have 210 Magic Find. Combine this with the Renown Reforge for even more Magic Find. But of course, this is just for Magic Find. It's not, you don't have to have these. It's just something I would recommend. To start a Slayer quest, go and head to the hub. Then go all the way back behind where the wood area is and take a right into this little shack. You'll see a dude named Maddox the Slayer, and this is where you can start your Slayer quests. There are zombies, spiders, and wolves. We're going to start with zombies and just kind of show you how a Slayer quest works. So as you can see, for a small price, I started the quest and it says, slay zombies for combat XP. And on the right, you'll see a little scoreboard that says how many we have to take out before the boss spawns. And right now it's 12, so if I slay 12 of these zombies in the graveyard, it will summon my Slayer boss. And the Slayer boss is the tough enemy that has a chance to drop rare items. So right here we'll spawn our Slayer boss, and this is what he looks like. And when we attack him, he drops this Revanent flesh. Each different Slayer boss has their own common drop, and the higher Slayer quests you do, the more difficult the boss gets. So we can go back down to Maddox the Slayer and claim our Slayer reward. And as you can see, the different Revanent bosses get significantly more challenging. But also, the rewards you can get, like the Scythe Blade or the Beheaded Horror, are only available to those of you brave enough to take on the final bosses. So I'll show you what I would do for a Zombie Slayer floor. What I like to do is go past the graveyard into what is called the Crypt Caves. This is found on the left side of the graveyard, and you can go down here. Now down here there are more challenging zombies to take out, but if you have any gear at all, you won't die to these things. They don't really do much if you have any significant gear. In order to take out these bosses, I would recommend you have at least strong dragon armor. If you have a different kind of dragon armor, you can probably get away with this. You'll just have to make sure you have a good sword. The sword I would recommend is the Livid Dagger, Aspect of the Dragons, or Warped Aspect of the End. And make sure that you have 100% attack speed. As you can see, if I'm holding my Livid Dagger, I have 100% attack speed. This allows me to punch mobs over and over again much faster than most players. And here's my Slayer boss. And as you can see, they aren't too difficult to take out as long as you have significant gear. And as you can see, I got a rare drop, the Pestilence Rune. I believe that is a 1% drop chance, correct me if I'm wrong there. And as long as you have 100% attack speed, most Tier 4 Slayer bosses are a lot easier than most people think. So make sure you just have some gear with some good defense, and a strong sword in order to be able to take out the bosses. The Zombie Slayers are by far the easiest to take out, so don't think that you'll be able to take out a Sven Packmaster 4 just because you can pretty easily take out a zombie. Tier 4 zombies are usually a joke, and they get a lot more difficult, alright? Let's take a look at some of the other ones. Moving on to Tarantula Broodfathers, I would recommend you get a bow for this one because this is where a lot of the tryhards go to grind some stuff. I'm going to be using the Runen's bow, however a magma bow and the explosive bow will work pretty much just as well. What you'll want to do is head over to the Spider's Den. This is where all of the spiders spawn and is in one of the few locations in the entire game where you can actually farm spiders. Then basically just kinda spam your bow everywhere and make sure to attack the spiders. A little tip, if you have the command/warp nest, you can spawn on top of the spider's den. This makes it significantly easier to hit spiders because you'll be falling from the sky and you'll be able to see them much faster. So right now you'll see my tier 1 spider just about to spawn. Let me attack one more spider. And there he is. Spiders are pretty easy as well, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now let's talk about the tier 4 spiders, since they are much tougher and you'll need a little bit different gear in order to take them on. If you are brand new to killing these spiders, I would recommend getting yourself a set of either strong dragon armor or the tarantula armor. This is because of the piece bonuses that each piece gets called Spider Bulwark. The more spiders you defeat, the more that you'll actually be able to tank these spiders, since you get more defense against spiders. This means the more you train with this armor, the stronger it will get, making you take less damage and take out bosses easier. So I'm going to be using the /warp nest command to go all the way back to the top, and as you'll see, we'll be able to take out these spiders no problem. Again, if you're using superior dragon armor like I recommend, since it has more magic find, you'll have no problem taking out spiders. Just make sure you have a good sword. Once again, I would use the same swords. If you really want to be a tryhard, you can get a sword called the Scorpion Foil, which does extra damage to spiders. But really, all you need is just an aspect of the dragons, or any decent sword like the Livid Dagger and so on, and you'll be doing just fine. Make sure that when the mini-bosses spawn, you are ready for them, and can properly take them out. The Tarantula mutants are generally a little bit tougher than the other ones. Looks like we got 2 in a row, which is really nice. And for fighting the actual boss, I would recommend backing yourself up in a corner against the wall, and try not to let random people take your stuff, okay? Since the toxic arrow poison drop can be stolen by other players, you want to make sure you pick it up for yourself. Sven Packmaster is the most important slayer in the entire game. Sven Packmasters are completely immune to magic damage, meaning all of your magic weapons, your Golem Sword and Ember Rod, won't have any effect about it, so don't think about that. You can still use the Voodoo Doll, but that's hardly considered a magic weapon since, I don't know, it just seems a little bit weird since you punch and stuff with it. But what you want to do is go ahead and head to the ruins up here, and this is where you would go and take out your wolves. As you can see, we have to slay 12 of them, which isn't too terrible. It's not going to take you very long to take out your first couple bosses, since the entire idea is to try and level up as much as you can so you can unlock the Mastiff armor, which I'll talk about shortly. So there we go, we have slain the Wolf Slayer 1, and we're ready to move on to Wolf Slayer 2, and so on. I'll show you a couple of the drops that are very important right now once we get back over to the bartender and go underneath and talk to Maddox, since several of these Wolf Slayers are very, very important. If we look at the boss leveling rewards, the first one that's incredibly important is the Maddox Bat Phone. This is unlocked at Wolf level 3 and you get it for free. This allows you to call Maddox from anywhere in the game. Basically just right click it, it'll ring, and then you click on a dialogue prompt inside of your chat bar, and it'll open up this Slayer menu. This allows you to start quests, finish quests from anywhere you want, meaning you don't have to run back and forth like I've been doing this video in order to start new quests. Next is the Mastiff armor, and if you're new to fighting Svens at all, this armor is going to be required unless you are a god and are able to do it in strong dragon armor, which I will talk about how to do it safely. Mastiff armor gives an incredible amount of EHP. Basically, it gives you a ton of health for the more crit damage you have. EHP is calculated with a mix of defense and health, but Mastiff armor gives you an absurd amount of raw health depending on how much crit damage you have. The higher your crit damage stat, the more health you'll get. So you'll want to make sure your sword is reforged to something like Spicy, and you have crit potions on, spirit potions on, all of those to get as much health as possible. Then head over to the ruins, and I'll tell you how to take out Sven Packmaster 4. Sven Packmaster 4 is currently the most difficult Slayer boss in all of Skyblock. I would highly recommend you are using Mastiff armor, or if you're really good, Superior Dragon armor for this challenge, since Sven has a ability that does true damage that makes it so you can get knocked out in basically one hit. Sven Packmaster is summoned by slaying a ton of these little wolves, and he actually has an ability during his boss fight where he summons extra pups to fight for him. This is why you'll see a lot of players fight Sven in water, because it cancels Sven's ability to be super mobile and tiny. This also makes the pups able to drown during the boss fight, which you'll see most likely if I don't kill it too fast. Sven also has an incredibly dangerous mini-boss called Sven Alpha. If you see it spawn and you think you're under-geared, then please just run away from it. So this is the Sven Follower, which is the easier version of Sven Alpha. Most people can take that out pretty easily. But if you see the red named Sven Alpha, run for your life since it does an incredible amount of damage. It's more important now than ever that you have 100% attack speed, since you'll need as much lifesteal to be able to take out Sven Packmaster. If you don't have lifesteal 4 on your sword, which is the special enchantment from the Spooky Festival, I would highly recommend seeking out a book on the auction house. You can get one fairly cheap without worrying about it too much since they're only about 3 million coins. I know that might be expensive to some of you, but trust me, it will be worth the investment. We are just about ready to summon our boss, so make sure you have your Mana Flux Power Orb if you have one, or if you just have the Radiant Power Orb, that works as well. Make sure you slay your last Sven Packmaster in the water, and you'll see the boss spawns right now. I'll place my Mana Flux Orb, and just keep a decent distance from Sven. Make sure he hits you once in a while, because if the boss isn't able to hit you every now and then, he will do a big hit that'll deal extra damage. As you can see, he summons pups to help fight for him, but if you stick near the water, I've gotten just about all of them to drown, making it so they don't really bother you. And as long as you have 100 attack speed, you'll find it pretty easy to take out Sven Packmaster 4. So if you're in strong dragon armor or new in Mastiff, as long as you have 100% attack speed and you're extra careful in water, you can take out Sven Packmaster no problem. There's a couple more items I want to talk about that'll help you out with Slayer quests, and let's go over them now. The first one, which I briefly mentioned, is the Power Orbs. They are the Radiant, Mana Flux, and Overflux Power Orb. The Radiant Power Orb is unlocked early on in the Sven Packmaster quest line, and you'll be able to buy one from the auction house for pretty much no coins at all. Next is the Mana Flux, which is the one I recommend everyone gets once you're able to. It's unlocked at Sven Packmaster 6 and costs just a couple million coins to get. As you can see, it gives us extra mana regeneration, and it heals us every 2% of our max health per second. And it gives us 10 strength. That 10 strength isn't really important, but more importantly, it heals you and keeps you alive. Next is going to be a Wolf Pet. The Wolf Pet is going to be your best choice for Slayers, especially Sven Packmaster. This is because it gives you up to an extra 30% extra combat XP per enemy you kill. This does count for Slayers as well, meaning you can spawn your Slayer boss 30% faster. You also gain up to 10% or 10 true defense, so when you're fighting Sven Packmaster, that true defense damage hit will actually deal less damage. Wolf Pets are one of the most considerable pets for this Slayer quest grind because of the extra combat XP allowing you to do Slayers faster. Alternatively, you can use a pet such as the legendary Ender Dragon or the legendary Black Cat because they give extra magic find, making you get more rare drops from Sven Packmaster, Tarantula Broodfathers, and the Revanent Horrors. But anyways, that's just about it for the Slayers Beginner Guide. If you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them in the comments, so please leave a comment down if you have any questions. And happy Slayer grinding on this Mayor event. You'll have about 4 days, so take as much advantage of it as possible. Keep up that grind, and get to those level 7 Slayers. Alright, take care y'all.